What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zoe. No, it is off DFS here to bring you guys an NBA slate breakdown for the 7-game NBA slate we got tonight. But before we can even get into that, I don't know what's in the water in the NBA, but them boys, they scrapping. They trying to fight, throw hands, all sorts of stuff lately. If you guys did not see Amen Thompson sling the shit out of Tyler Hero last night, it's getting spicy. Definitely some suspensions going to be coming down. Look at Hero. Look at Hero sitting here. Hero got tossed like a rag doll. Like that takedown a man had right there. I give him a A plus, because that was textbook. Had him right up there, right up here, right up top, good enough, and then just use that momentum and boom, beautiful, love it. They wilding out here in the NBA right now. We've seen, I think that's back-to-back nights we've had players getting ejected, throwing hands. You just had over there for Dallas at Nurk out here mushing people in the face and things. So it's getting a little spicy. And honestly, if they got the memo that hey, ratings are down, we need to get them back up, whatever. If it's not that, they getting tired of actually having to have these players play defense and not getting the foul calls that they're used to getting. So it's definitely getting under the skin of some of the players. And I think that might actually be the result of what we're starting to see out here. Now, granted, I did not get to watch that full game right there. So if someone else watched it, seeing what the chirping and stuff is going on and whatnot, but Hero, bro. That's too funny. If you guys are new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any of the content I drop over here on the channel, and drop a like on this video if this video or any of my other videos help you guys win some money. We got a nice 7-game slate. I'm excited to break it down. Game spread all the way across, all the way up to 10 p.m. Some injury news and stuff like that we got to pay attention to. But all in all, I actually, strangely enough, like this slate. And I really think it's because the value that we have is in some pretty good spots, especially the Charlotte and Chicago game. I really feel like there's tons of stackable pieces in that. The Denver and Utah, that game should be pretty decent. And then the late night hammers are not bad at all for you to go ahead and get some pieces from. So all in all, really a nice slate that I actually do like. So I'm excited to break this down for you guys. Starting out, of course, like we normally do, injury report. New York, big thing. We got to know if Brunson's going to be in or out. This game is a repeat of what we just saw literally a couple days ago for them. And the game went to OT. Brunson went off 70+ fantasy points. He was a game time decision that game. He played, I would imagine, possibly the same thing. I didn't see that he got injured or anything from that game, or something got aggravated even more. And I mean, we know how Tibbs is. So even though they were playing the third game in 4 nights, he still went out there. He played his guys. The spread is 12.5. Definitely kind of just up in the air. I'm not too sure if it's that. I honestly don't know. Couldn't tell you if Brunson's going to be in or out. Definitely going to be waiting for some news to come out. I know it's a calf and whatnot. Same thing that we kind of saw for Damian Lillard over the last couple games. So if Brunson's going to be out, that's definitely going to open up some room for Miles McBride, Cameron Payne. Those guys will definitely get a boost in their minutes. Then, of course, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Town, the rest of those guys are definitely going to be in contention. But we got to know if Brunson's going to be in or not, which is luckily first game, so we will have that news. Washington, Poole. Honestly, he was held out last game as well. Brogdon got the start, so definitely would need to know if he's going to be in or out. Kyle Kuzma is expected to be back for them, so he's going to be back. That's going to definitely mess with the rotation. If all these guys are in, I have no interest in anybody from Washington, but if players are going to be out, then that's definitely going to be able to help for us to maybe get some pieces from here. But really, with a decent size slate and other value, especially in the Charlotte Hornets game, I don't see us having to force too much right here from Washington, especially with Kyle Kuzma being back in the mix. We don't know what they're going to truly look like with him. Pretty big usage monster coming back for them. For Chicago, no news really to report for them. Josh Giddey, Zach LaVine, both of those game time decisions, but expected to play. Giddey came back, dropped 60-something plus fantasy points. Great game for him out there. Love the upside for what we should be able to get from for Giddey in this really cake matchup going up against Charlotte Hornets, who we know play fast, a little to no defense out there for them. Big thing, LaMelo Ball, Cody Martin, Brandon Miller, all these guys expect to be out. Miles Bridges is the main starter that's going to be in there. Same thing for Mark Williams. And even though Mark Williams is on a minute limit, hopefully he can get bumped up to like 25. Still a great fantasy point producer whenever he is out there. But all that usage and then just the value in players like Misik, Seth, and Miles just being priced way too low, it's opens up for a really good stack from Charlotte. And honestly, I really do like that stack from Charlotte. Clippers taking on the Pelicans. No news to really report over here for the Clippers. Same old starting lineup, everything for them. Over here for the Pelicans, Misik, he was listed as questionable, but he is expected to play. Of course, for them, they're still without Alvarado, BI still out, and Zion. All those guys are out. The Pelicans, one of the worst teams right now in the league. Honestly, I want to say they have the best lottery odds right now. Now, if they're going to get a Cooper Flag, replace another Duke boy with another one with Zion, I don't know. That's going to be crazy right there for the Pelicans, and a team that really needs to figure out what the heck it is they're going to be doing for them. Now, I think the pickup of DeJounte Murray wasn't a bad idea or pick for them at all, going ahead and getting him when they traded for him from Atlanta. But CJ McCollum, journeyman at this point. He needs to go find another team and do one that he can actually contribute to. I don't think that's going to be it here for him on the Pelicans. Denver taking on Utah. Of course, we know that Aaron Gordon is going to be out for quite some time, and they are pretty content in starting Russell Westbrook at that point guard position, moving Jamal Murray down to a shooting guard. I want to say, like, we were definitely on it over here on this channel whenever we talked about it, on how the starting lineup possibly could look, and just the expectation, like, hey, you know, they do have a starting caliber point guard on their bench that they could start, and lo and behold, they did it. Shift everybody down one position, and they're running with it. They're looking pretty good out there. Going up against Utah, we got word Keontae George, he is expected to play today. John Collins is going to be out. So Keontae coming back, that's definitely going to put a damper on players like Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson. Other than that, not too sure about his minutes limits or anything like that. I would imagine he would be limited. He has missed a couple of games, so definitely keep an eye out on that, but really no true interest on any of the backups, something like that from there. Cleveland taking on Golden State. No news report for Cleveland. We know what it is. We know who's going to play. We know the minutes, all that good stuff over here for Cleveland. Same old, same old. Golden State Warriors, though, they're going to be without Podominski. And Moses Moody is a game time decision. I would imagine with Pod being out, that should up the minutes for Dennis Schroeder. Hopefully he can actually do something with him. He has not looked the greatest over there with the Warriors so far, but that is definitely a work in progress for them. Philly taking on Portland. Big thing, Joel Embiid, as always, game time decision. Don't know if the guy's going to play, what's going on, if he's sick, if his tummy hurts. His mom called him and said, hey, no, don't go out there and play today. There's no telling when it comes down to Embiid. So, pay attention to that. If he's out, then of course Andre Drummond, who is also dealing with a toe, stub toe or something like that. If both those guys miss, then Yabusele will be a big value piece that you can get from a late night hammer right here for him. And I honestly think the matchup just becomes better for DeAndre Ayton, who should be able to go out here and dominate. And even if Embiid was to play, I still like Ayton today. I really do feel like the upside for him looks really good for what he can actually go out there and do. Over on Portland side, Jeremy Grant, game time decision. Kamara, game time decision. Both those guys, no news. I haven't seen anything on them all day. If they're going to be out, then of course that is going to continue to boost the value in Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons. Off the bench, where we have what's his name off the bench, Scoot off the bench. So definitely got to pay attention to that. Over here for Dallas, Lively, again, game time decision. I would be surprised if Lively actually gets a start, considering that he's missed a couple of games now. Wouldn't mind if they just let Gafford start. Gafford, great fantasy point per minute producer and a good matchup going up against Sacramento Kings. Like that spot for him. We already know that Luka's going to be out. Najee Marsh is going to be out with his suspension, and then Dante Exum. So kind of consensus rotation and stuff like that. We are seeing some consistency. Spencer Dinwiddie should be in the starting lineup, will be in starting lineup. Don't mind or hate him as a good play today, but we'll get into that later. Over here on the Kings, second game underneath the new head coach, Crowder, game time decision. Don't really care or worry about if he plays or not. Fox, Monk, DeRozan, Keegan, Sabonis, same old starters for them and everything. Heading over to DraftKings site, I play the most on site. If you guys don't got an account, you want one, check the link down in the description below so you guys can get the deposit match bonus and join your boy over here on the King. All right, so first game that we got over here for us is going to be Chicago taking on the Charlotte Hornets. And again, I said this game right here, the total right now for it is coming in. Yeah, let me see. Surprisingly, a 226 total. Honestly, would have expected to be higher, but either way, I just think that there's fantasy goodness left and right in this game. I'm going to start with the Charlotte side just because we already know for sure in regards to the players that's going to be out. Brandon Miller, LaMelo, Cody Martin, all those guys are going to be out. So that is going to leave Miles Bridges as the lone starter and Mark Williams technically as the lone two starters that should soak up all the uses over here for them. And with LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller being out, we already know that Big Mishik right there at the point guard position at 4,600. They're going to have to play. They're going to have to get those minutes out there for them. So all these guys are there. All three of those guys I just mentioned love their value. Their prices are honestly kind of slated as if they are still playing with LaMelo. They are playing without Brandon Miller. Mishik, 4,600. We've already seen it. He's gotten a couple starts this season, and he produces whenever he's out there, and he's getting at least those 30 plus minutes a game. Love the upside. Pretty good matchup, especially assist wise and things like that, going up against the Chicago Bulls, who we do know have They've given up plenty of fantasy points against opposing point guards out here on a night-to-night basis. Damian Lillard just went off for 61.5 fantasy points. Not expecting Big Meech to be able to go out there and do the same thing, but the upside is definitely there. His shot is looking very good, 4,600. That's one of your like main staple value plays you can go to. Again, Mark Williams, I understand 5,300. Price is slowly starting to creep up, but rightfully so. The minutes as well, they're slowly creeping up for him. We've seen he played 26 minutes going up against Washington, 22 against my Thunder. Granted, that was kind of somewhat a blowout, but seeing that he can at least go out there and play 26 minutes, that's over the 25-minute mark that we have been waiting and hoping to actually get him to. Another great matchup going up against Vucevic. We know the block upside is there for him. The double-double upside whenever he's out there on the court, it is tremendous, and I love the upside for him here in the spot once again. Brook Lopez, again, 42.75 fantasy points in that last game going up against them. Kristaps Porzingis, another center, somewhat similar in regards to what he can do except for stretching the floor, but the rim protection, the putbacks, things like that. 42 and 37 fantasy points in the exact same spot. And then Mark Williams, when he played versus them earlier already, which he's already played them this season, if we come down here, in 17 minutes he dropped 31.25 fantasy points. Now I'm not gonna say he's gonna go out here and do that again, but 5,300 definitely makes for a really good value center play that we can get to on today's slate. Now Miles Bridges, again, the lone starter, is going to be out here for them. We've seen there's just no LaMelo, no Brandon Miller, all the shots that he could take, everything that he wants out there. Going up against Chicago the first time in 25 minutes, he dropped 33.25 fantasy points. If he goes out here and he could play his 35 minutes that he would normally play out here, the upside is limitless. And one of my favorite plays that I normally like to get to, especially whenever I'm doing my builders and things like that, is Miles Bridges for 6 rebounds. He seems very consistent in regards to getting that right there. Definitely, if you can get that on the books for the upside, you can even do a rebound ladder for Miles Bridges, just because you don't have Melo, who can also sneak in there and get rebounds. You don't have Brandon Miller sneaking in there getting the rebounds. Mark Williams is still limited in regards to the minutes that he's going to be playing. So the upside for Miles to be able to get his rebounds, I do actually like that, and still think that would be a very valuable play that you can get to. Now, outside of that, you can look to some of the other players like Seth Curry, who is going to have to play some minutes, 3,500. If he can actually knock down a shot and just be pretty consistent, he can pay off the value. I mean, as you can see, he played 32 minutes, dropped 24.5 fantasy points in that one game right there. 18 minutes, he dropped 25.75. So if he gets the minutes, the value is definitely there for him. I really don't think you have to get that cheap on today's slate, just because there's decent value in other spots. Now, over here for the Chicago Bulls, really the only two that stick out to me are Josh Giddey and Zach LaVine, 6'9" and 7,400. Like I said, Giddey, first game back, 29 minutes. I definitely do think that those days off did some really good for him. Triple-double when he went out there, 65.25 fantasy points against the Milwaukee Bucks in 29 minutes. 23 points, 10 assists, 15 rebounds. Love the upside for Josh Giddey. I would go right back to him again here if I land there in regards to get me a mid-tier point guard. And then Zach LaVine, I honestly don't feel like they have anybody that could truly stop him whenever he's out there on the court. 34 minutes, he dropped 26 fantasy points against him the first time. As long as he's good to go and he's healthy and can go out there and play, definitely do think that the sky is somewhat the limit for what he can go out there and get you. But Josh Giddey would be my play between the two if I was to have to decide, do I want to play one or the other. Now, with AO being out, yes, that is going to mean that we should be able to see some what's his name, Javon Carter out there. Might be some more minutes for Kobe White or things like that, but I'm not gonna focus too heavy on those guys. Kobe, you can definitely mess with that if you want to. 34 minutes in his last game, but going up against Charlotte the first time, 32 minutes, dropped 25.5 fantasy points. Not saying it's a bad play, but definitely just think I'd rather get the 400 and go up to get to Josh Giddey instead. New York Knicks taking on Washington. This game right here, of course, all the Knicks are in play. Everyone in that starting lineup is going to be in play, but if Brunson is going to be out, I'm definitely going to want to be looking at Cameron Payne. I'm going to want to look at Miles McBride. Both of those guys, their upside, everything is going to go up. We know they're going to play the minutes. Whoever starts should get decent run just because it's Tibbs. Tibbs plays his players into ground. But every single one of these starters out here for the New York Knicks is in contention and in play. If I got to rank him and go with him, Mikal Bridges, just because the shot has been great. He's been playing very well so far to close out the year. The price tag sitting at 6,200. That's honestly really cheap to me considering the matchup and everything that he has, especially if Brunson wants to miss. That's just too easy right there. OG, I know he's been very much hit or miss. Played 42 minutes in that last game for them and only gave us 16 fantasy points. Definitely a bounce back and GPP option. No one's going to want to click on OG Anunoby. I promise you, nobody is going to be clicking on OG. He will be sub 15% owned, and I'll be surprised if he even gets that much. So definitely the upside play right there for you if you want to go for a play. And then if Brunson actually does play 8,400, that's cheap. The matchup is great. It's the same exact matchup that he just dropped 72.5 fantasy points and 55 actual points on. I'd go right back to that if it comes down to it. But if he's going to be out, Miles McBride, Kevin Payne, main two value plays you're going to want to look to. Whoever starts, I'll take. If I'm making two lines, then I would replace it with the other one that doesn't start. On Washington, like I said, unless Poole and Sarr get ruled out, I really have no interest on anybody over here. You can look to Brogdon if you want to, if Poole is going to be out. Besides that, Koulibaly, Carrington, all those guys with Kuz coming back, I'm not too sure exactly what to expect. So I'm going to stay away from that. And I just really feel like there's players priced right around where they are that have better upside for what we can actually get. Going over to the Clippers, taking on the Pelicans in this game. Honestly, I am surprised. I have not played James Harden, honestly, any this season whenever I look at it. The Clippers are kind of going, to me, sneakily under the radar in regards to their play, how they've been doing, everything so far this season. I haven't seen too much buzz about the Clippers anywhere. Maybe it's just because I might have muted them on Twitter, so that's probably why I don't see it. But I'm not seeing anything in regards to them. So the upside is definitely there. James Harden, 9100. I think he would be one of your sneaky GPP options as a point guard position or a guard spot, because I doubt anyone's going to play him here. Clippers, they play at a pretty slow pace. I know they're going to be trying to slow down the pace. They actually have very good defense up there in defensive metrics out there for everyone on the court. And we have seen opposing point guards, they've done very well going up against the New Orleans Pelicans. John Morant last game, 40 fantasy points. Freddie V, 49. Jalen Brunson, 54. Honestly, the list goes on and on in regards to the upside. We know that he dishes the rock very well. Harden's looking decent on the defensive side, but if that shot's falling, that three-point shot is stroking, we know what James Harden will go out there and do. 9100, I do feel like is a bit steep. Again, I really do feel like he's a good pivot as a GPP option, because I doubt anybody's going to want to pay up right there for James Harden at the price tag, considering all the other guards and stuff that we have that are pretty cheap in regards to the upside and what they can do. Now, outside of that, I'll say Zubac, Norman Powell, Chris Dunn, all these guys are going to be in play in contention for me just for the upside in the matchup. Zubac, he has one of the best matchups on the board out here going up against New Orleans Pelicans. The upside is honestly limitless and through the roof. We have attacked them continuously with opposing centers all throughout the season, and honestly props and DFS wise, as long as Zoo doesn't get himself in foul trouble and the game stays decently close, he can go out there and give us another 40 plus fantasy point production. As you can see, as far as I can see, 5 straight games of over 40 fantasy points. That's really good for a 7,600 center. I do love the upside. And then the last one I'm really going to touch on is going to be Chris Dunn, just because I'm finally seeing some consistency, at least 20-ish fantasy points from him for his last 5 games at 4,100. That's another value piece. If you don't get up to Harden, you can't get up to Zubac. I would say Chris Dunn, for the steal upside and everything that he actually has, I don't mind going to him and taking him here in that spot. On the Pelican side of things, in all honesty, only thing I really did have interest in was if Music was to miss, then I meant we could have got some value from like Daniel Tice, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, but he's going to be in. So I can say maybe you could look to DeJounte Murray, who's been playing pretty good over the last couple of games. But other than that, nobody interests me over here just because Clippers, again, really tough defense going out there. So kind of hard to produce in regards to anything you can actually do going up against them. And then also this is one of the more lower totals on the slate for today. Going over to the Utah Jazz taking on the Denver Nuggets. Denver playing at a pretty fast pace, and I'm not too sure if that is because they have Russell Westbrook in the starting lineup now. You don't have Aaron Gordon out there, but they are playing fast over the last couple games since Aaron Gordon's gone down. Now, we'll say on the Denver side, I don't have to speak anything about the Joker. The Joker's a Joker. No one can really match up with them. Great spot for him. 12K. There's plenty of value. You can get to the Joker. Don't even question yourself. Outside of that, if you want to mess with Jamal Murray, 7-7. He's been playing pretty good over his last couple games, running out there tons of minutes for him as well. So the upside is definitely there. As long as the shots falling, he's looking good, playing off ball. But you can just come down here and get Russell Westbrook, who is starting, who is playing 30 minutes a game. Now, granted, if Russ can remember how to shoot, and I keyword in that, can remember how to shoot, he can go out there and he can deliver and have us a crazy triple-double type game just as well. You have 2 of the leaders in triple-doubles out there on the court at all times pretty much. So upside definitely 6,300. I don't mind taking a stab at Russell Westbrook if I have to mess with it. Outside of that, Christian Brown will be the only other person. Seems to go overlooked. 4,900, great spot for him as well. Definitely they're feeding him the rock, getting him some shots, and he brings it on the defensive side. He's pretty much their defensive anchor out there for the starting lineup. Outside of that, Peyton Watson, Julian Strawther, both those guys, if you get down there, you can. But when you have some other starters who are starting and are value pieces today, you don't have to go that low. Over here on the Utah Jazz side, again, we don't have John Collins. He's going to be out. I will say, even though it is the Joker, I still like Walker Kessler today. Opposing centers have actually played well going up against the Joker so far this season. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's in the water, but Walker Kessler, I love the upside for what he can bring. Like I've said before, Utah actually plays pretty hard and plays very well at home outside of Walker Kessler and what he can actually do. Even with Keontae George being back, I will say that Colin Sexton, 6,100, not a bad price. I do feel like if you're going to attack anybody, you're going to attack Russell Westbrook, you're going to attack Jamal Murray in regards to what you can get on the offensive side. Colin Sexton should be able to do that. His speed, decent outside shot that he has developed and worked on over the years. Definitely do think that you can go there. If you want to take a stab and get a very low owned Keontae George, be my guest, go right ahead. He was playing over 30 minutes a game before he got injured and was out. Again, I would kind of expect a minutes limit or something like that for him. And I don't expect a full run for him being out here on the court. Going over to Cleveland, taking on the Golden State Warriors, who, again, like I said, they've been beating teams, just beating them. Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, all these guys have pretty good matchups. GPP play only for me for Darius Garland. I will always forever say that, just because the moment I play him, he legit forgets how to shoot, forgets how to pass the ball, forgets how to do anything out there on the court. I will never recommend you Darius Garland as a staple. Like, I stand 10 toes down on. I will never say that to you. Never. I will always say GPP option, because if the shot's falling, he plays great, beautiful, good. I'm proud of you. Good job. You made that play, not me. Outside of that, my favorite play, as always, will always be Evan Mobley. Just the upside that the kid's been playing with. He's been playing very well. Golden State, they're still mixing pot in regards to what the heck they want to do in that starting lineup. We know he can play make as well, get the assists, the rebounds, blocks and steals, and then of course just the consistency that he's showing us with his scoring. Love all that. He was one of my prop plays that I actually did do a little bit digging into. Took him at over 17.5 points for today. Cleared that the first time that he played going up against Golden State. Well, no, second time he played. He cleared that one of those times when he played Golden State so far, but he's been very consistent on the road. That was really what stood out to me in regards to actually want to get to him. Then, of course, Donovan Mitchell, Dennis Schroeder, not scared of his defense. If he's on, he's on. You're not cooling him down. Going to chuck up a ton of threes, get a ton of shots up, can play make as well. Another player that I am very consistent with taking in regards to getting 4 assists out there for me. So 2 plays that I'm giving you pretty much like that I like to go to in regards to bankroll building would be Donovan Mitchell is another one of them for 4 assists, because he typically goes out there and gets that for me on a night-to-night basis. On the Golden State Warriors side, only person that really sticks out to me is Steph Curry. That's going to be the main one for me. As long as Steph is going to be out there and playing 9K, when you got James Harden at 9-1, these are going to be your 2 GPP options right here. No Podominski, hopefully a tick of a couple more minutes for Steph being out there and playmaking duties and stuff. But the main thing is going to be he's going to have to score. He's going to have to try to keep them in this game. We already know that Cleveland, they played a fast place, and they're going to beat you down in regards to it. So if they want to keep it close, keep it competitive, Steph Curry is definitely the way to go. Outside of Steph, I'll say Wiggins and Kuminga. Both these guys are in consideration. Wiggins, he's had some decent games and stuff, but he's been very much hit or miss, hot cold. But Kuminga, this kid's been balling. Last 2 games, 52 and 60 fantasy points. Game blows out, Kuminga's going to get the run either way. So 5,800, I definitely would have some interest in right there. And then lastly, I'll say Dennis Schroeder. Just GPP option for me. I can't. Not producing, not giving me any upside, and I have better guards that are cheaper starting and should see a full lot of minutes usage and everything that I can go to. Not too interested in Tracy Jackson Davis, even though he possibly could go out here and have a good day. And then Draymond Green, 5,900. 5,900, that's kind of cheap for what Dre can do. So I definitely do see the upside and reasons for why you want to go there if you want to mess with that. On to the Dallas Mavericks taking on Sacramento Kings. Again, no Luka. Marsh, he's going to be out for a while. Kyrie, 8,900. Again, Harden, 9-1. Steph, 9K. Brunson, 8-4. Kyrie, 8-9. That's your direct pivot off of Brunson right there if you want to go there. Kyrie sandwiched between everybody. Really doubt that anyone's going to go to him, especially when you have Spencer Dinwiddie in the starting lineup. He's out there 5,200. I would just go ahead and play that when it comes down to it. Grades that as a really great value. Looking very consistent over here for Dallas. As long as he can go out there and get me 30-ish fantasy points, I do love the upside and what he can bring. So that's definitely a play right there. So both of those guards right there, Dinwiddie and Kyrie, both of them are definitely in contention to play. Wouldn't mind getting to either one of those guys from this game. I do believe the upside would be pretty good for them when it comes down to it. From the Bigs perspective, not really too interested in anybody unless Lively misses. Then I would have to consider Gafford. On to the Sacramento Kings. Fox, like him, 8-8. Again, another pivot off of Brunson at 8-4, 8-5, whatever Brunson's sitting at. Fox, 63.75 fantasy points in that first game with the new head coach. I do think that they're playing faster. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that, but the upside definitely there for Fox at 8-8. Rock is in his hand. He's scoring. He's doing everything out there for him. I do think a sneaky GPP play, and I say sneaky just because he's been very cold. Hasn't really done too much out here. He's been very spotty, hit or miss, but I think the upside for Keegan Murray could possibly be here in this matchup versus Denver. Now, when you look at opposing bigs that actually can shoot and score pretty well, they've done well at that 4 position for players going up against Dallas. Jeremy Grant dropped 34 fantasy points. Kevin Durant dropped 39 fantasy points. Julius Randle, 49 fantasy points. Kuminga, 33.75. Jalen Williams dropped 32. So I like the upside for Keegan as a low-owned play that I really feel nobody's going to go to. And this could definitely be one of those spots where it's like, who the hell thought of Keegan Murray will go out here and have 20 points, 5 rebounds, and assists, 2 blocks? Like, it just feels like it's one of those games where Keegan is Keegan. Just remember that. Just think about it. If you land on it, land on it. Watch the Kings broadcast, and every single time he makes a bucket, you can do the same thing that they do. Keegan Murray. Like, it's weird. It's weird. It's just sticking out to me. But Keegan, he's in a good spot. He's in a good spot. Outside of that, there wasn't anything else. You could definitely mess with Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis, all those guys if you want to land there. But I do think there's better studs and stuff that we can get to instead of having to focus on that. Going over to Philly, taking on Portland, last game of the day. Again, we need to know the news if Embiid is going to be in or out. Same thing for Drummond. If both those guys misses, I do feel like it just bulks Aiden up to be decent in regards to having a good game. Now, with them being out, that definitely would mean that Yabusele, who again we know gets a start, he goes out there and plays 4,500. Dude's pretty much a fantasy point per minute producer when he's out there on the court. There goes your late night hammer value right there, wrapped in a bow. Now, if they were to miss as well, then of course we're going to be looking at Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, both those guys. Maxey definitely should be under owned today. He's again sandwiched between Kyrie, between Fox, between Brunson, Curry, all these guys. If there's no Embiid, why would I not play Maxey in a very good matchup going up against Portland, who bleeds points to opposing guards? Great spot right there for Tyrese Maxey, 8,600. Paul George, really not too interested in him. You can definitely go there, 7,500. That's honestly just lower than low for what I would expect for Paul George. But I don't have the same feeling like I have for Keegan Murray for Paul George, so I'm not even going to look there. Outside of that, Caleb Martin, if Embiid was to miss, rebounding upside, and we have seen him actually have decent shooting games and things like that for us whenever players are missing and things of that sort. Dropped 32.25 fantasy points against Boston. Again, shooting. He shot lights out in that game. But other than that, that's going to be it from me, guys. Hopefully you guys were able to get a little something from this video. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and drop a like in the video. If you guys did enjoy this content, you guys want to see more of it. Good luck to everybody. Oh, before I get out of here, I have a 2-man for you guys over here on FanDuel to go ahead and build you guys up some bankroll over here. I'm taking Josh Giddey for 6 assists and Jonathan Kuminga for 15 points over here as a little small bankroll builder. Minus 122 odds for me, playing $50. Cash out for $91.26. Gonna roll that into the next day. So if you guys stay till the end of the video, you definitely just was able to get this little bit of free sauce. Hopefully you guys do see it. Good luck to everybody. Peace.